changes to the stream. I have real internet access now, although now my voice is going, of course. But today we're going to be working on this new user workflow of when we create a user, it's going to create an empire, and it'll take us to this dashboard. We're going to TDD this. So the first thing I just want to, it's been a hot second. I drove to Colorado and back, and that took a lot. And I have no recollection of where I am, what's happening. So we're just going to go back here and check our code. Also, my typing today is going to be extra bad because I switched keyboards to a split keyboard, and I haven't used a split keyboard in I don't know how long. And so that's going to be an adventure. But let's continue. First we're going to do is that I'm going to check, and we're going to look at Empire spec, and I want to check to see that we have some uniqueness of name, presence of name. That looks good. This method check. Okay, so we did do like this kind of resource summary. That's fantastic. I ran my test array, so that's good. My Empire model changes have been implemented. That's good. The next step is that we're going to write a test to test for the user registration with the Empire name. So we're going to go to spec, features, user authentication. Let's make a new file. User registration with I'm looking at my fingers as I type, and this is so hard. Okay, user registration Empire spec RB. Cool. So I'm going to now copy my test. I have this test written out. I'm going to paste it here, and you can see here. That we're going to go visit new user path. It's going to fill an email, username, password, and we have this name, Galactic Federation, whatever. And then we're going to expect that when we click the button register, the user's going to come up and the Empire count's going to go up. We're not testing the kind of full-on dashboard yet. Like it's going to go to the dashboard, right? But we're just going to make sure that these actually get created, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run RSpec spec features, user authentication, user registration with Empire name spec, right? And I'm gonna run that. And it doesn't do anything because I need to save the test. Surprise, surprise. Right, and it's going to complain because we don't have an Empire name. We're not redirecting to the dashboard. So what we're going to do is that we are going to change the user registration form to add an Empire name field. And so let's take a look here. It's going to be users new, right? And so right here, we're going to put some code in here right before the submit button, and right in between the submit button is where we're going to put in our field for our Empire name. I'm going on a split keyboard after you've been not split keyboarding for a while is tough. Cool. Empire name is optional. It's optional. The name is going to be optional because it's going to auto-generate us a name. Cool. All right. We'll save this and we'll run our tests just to be sure. Cool, so we're not redirecting to the dashboard, that's fine. So we're not really processing the Empire name. We are not doing anything with that. So let's actually make sure that our Empire Builder service that we've created earlier that makes our thing is going to be able to handle custom names. And so let's see here. Oh, this is a service. I need the test for the service. So it's going to be Empire. Okay, cool. So we got some bunch of tests here. Let's see. Creates an Empire for the user, generation name if none provided. Cool. We need to make sure that it uses provided name if given. Check, that looks good. Returns Empire with errors if the aim name is not unique. Check. Cool. Generation names clash. Cool. All right, that's good. Let's make sure that our service actually does this kind of stuff. So it is going to create an Empire name. Nil, if the Empire can't be saved, we're going to return with empires there. Check. Cool. Create an Empire object with errors if the transaction fails. All right. Private, generate Empire name. Cool. Create starting star system. That's good. That should be working. So we are now going to set it up so that a user can register without providing Empire name. Before doing that, I really want to make this test though. It goes to our dashboard, right? And so we're going to do that. We're going to go to, oops. No. User controller. And so this is where things have to change. Like new, that's going to be for the form. Create. All right. So create. What we're going to do for create is first, we're going to look for a user. Create a user. And then if the user can be saved, we're going to do this. We're going to do Empire name equals params. Nope. Well, P-A-R-A-S user Empire name presence, right? And you're like, what is that? What is presence? And so what we're doing here is that we are sending Empire name to that form we just talked about, right? And so what's happening here is that it is seeing if, so presence is a Rails method. Is a Rails method that returns the original value if it's not blank, right? Not nil, not empty string, not just white space. And it returns nil if the value is blank. So that means is that as long as this exists, as long as the user has entered something in there, it'll return the original value. So essentially what we're trying to say here is that like, hey, let's check in there. If there's nothing in there, we're gonna make it blank. We're gonna make it nil. If there's something in there, it's gonna be what it is. So this way, what we're doing is we're kind of like doing some data control, some kind of like processing, make sure that like, hey, this is gonna be a thing where it gets done. It gets set. And so now we have Empire. Empire name params, we're storing the Empire name that the user enters in there. Empire, what do I use? Empire. Empire equals Empire Builder Service new. And it's going to pass in the user, create Empire, and we're going to put it in a, oops. If I can type Empire name, right? So it's going to create a new Empire that is attached to this user, and it's going to hit the Empire create name. So I'm going to show you that by going to this here. Nope, that is a test. We're going to this create empire method name.nil, and so if it has a name, it's going to create the name. If it doesn't have a name, it's going to, I'm sorry, if we're giving it a name, it will create an empire. I'll try to create an empire with that name. If not, it is going to try to, generate that. And so that's great. That's great, But where were we? Empire use controller. We do need to have some error correction, right? So after we do this, we are going to, empire is going to be set that. It returns empire with errors if it fails. So what we're going to do is we're going to see, hey, were there any errors? So that's going to be if empire, empire dot errors dot any. If there are any errors, we're going to user dot destroy user errors dot add empire name empire errors dot messages name dot first typing is so hard. Oops. That's my Notion. User errors at empire name, empire errors message first, name dot first, if empire messages name. Right. So this is what we're saying here is that, hey, if we have any errors, and the error is going to be around the empire name. We're going to destroy the user in the database, and then we're going to add the errors to the user object and send that back to the view. And so here, empire builder service, we essentially are doing that here, right? We're adding empire names here. So now, empire builder service, user controller, cool. And then after we do that, we are going to do a return render new status on processable entity. And that's us caching errors if anything happens. Right, so if there are any empire errors, it's just going to delete the user and kick us back to our new page, and let's create another one. Otherwise, we're going to register, that's going to be fine. Cool. Okay, so let's run the test. All right, so we are not, it's not going to the dashboard. right? And so dashboard, all right. Let's take a look. We have a dashboards controller, right? So that'll be going to dashboards. Let me check my routes out. Yeah. Dashboards path. So let's go to back to our users controller. Cool, and this we will change to test. Singular. Cool, so it's getting there, but doesn't have the stuff right there. So what we're gonna do is that we are going to, flesh out the dashboard or something, right? So if we look at our views, dashboards, it says welcome to your command center, current user username, blah, blah, blah. We should probably change that to have the Empire stuff, right? Because that's what Tess is asking for. But we can add that a little bit later, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to, in features, add some features for the dashboard test. And that'll do the thing. All right, so we got features. We're going to add a new folder. And we're going to do dashboards. And we're going to new file, dashboard, display, spec.rb. Cool. And I'm going to copy and paste some tests that I had generated for me. So we're going to create some username stuff. Create a user, that's fine. I'm going to log in, displays entire name, displays entire resources, displays SAR systems. Cool. Yeah. And that should be fine. And so we're going to change the dashboards controller to put some of the stuff in here. Let's go to our dashboards controller. Cool. And here, for now, just to be a little more explicit, I'm going to add in Empire equals current user.empire. Just so we have that here. I'll refactor this in a little bit. And we're going to do at star systems equals empire dot star systems. Cool. And now we're going to update the dashboard view. Is that? I'll save this to make sure that's working. Dashboards. Where are you, dashboards? Cool. And now I'm just going to replace this with the HTML with a view that I had generated for me. Nope, wrong button. Cool. And let us run the test. All right. Dashboards controller 4. Yep. Cool, that passes. I'm gonna run everything out. I know this is gonna make some bigger errors. Yeah. So user registration, user successfully registers. let's see if I can do this here. User, so this is user authentication, user registration spec. So we have to change our test that we already have because we're doing things a little differently. User registration spec, and this was line 17. Yeah, this is going to be dashboard because we are no longer going to the root page. We are going to the dashboard when we create a thing. That should be okay, and then let's run it again. We'll take a look. Unified star system nil class. This is going to be dashboards controller RB4. User authorization spec, line 24. User authorization spec 24. All right. Yes, so when users authenticated, it will allow access to the dashboard, but doesn't know anything about star systems for nil class because it's going to be Empire because we have not created it. So let's take a look at user registration spec. User authorization. All right, give me a second. I'm going to think about this. I have to go to the bathroom. Hold on. All right, so I'm trying to think about this and how to make this work. And so we're failing on 23. Allows access to the dashboard. And it doesn't know. Allows access to the dashboard. So if I fill in a user with this dashboard, let me take a look at my user registration. Here's my dashboard display spec. So I think that I need to copy this, give myself a better user authorization spec. Oops. Split right. It's gotta be dashboard, dashboard display spec. Cool. So let us now, we're not creating an Empire user star system before. We're going to now. And when we do this, you should know about those things and that passes. Fantastic. However, we still want to make some refactors because in my dashboards controller, I have this, which I do not like. We should not be setting things to the view unless we have to. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our dashboard view, and we're going to change some of this stuff out here, right? So current user already have. Let me make this a little bigger here. And current user Empire, current user Empire. view isn't even using these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment these out. Oops. And we're going to see if the test still pass. And they do, which means that these were just kind of like not needed. Save it, run the test again, make sure they pass. And that's going to be fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is bin dev pull this up. Cool. I think that I have ruined things. Let me make a new user. Let me just start a. Cool. So let's log in. Email address is no, stop. Let's use an email address. Test at example.com. Password is going to be password123. No, wait, need to register, my mistake. Email, test at example.com. Username, test user, password 123, password PASSWORD 123, and we're gonna leave the empire name blank to see what happens. Registration successful. User is kind viral. That's the thing. ROS 154 systems. That's fantastic. That all works. That looks good. Yeah, we have a working thing. This is our dashboard. It has that ruler. Star systems. I'm probably gonna want to change that in a little hot second, but that's fine. That looks pretty good. I think we've got everything working. I do need to yellow the database to get the old test users out, but we have a working flow where we have we're getting close towards the MVP, where we have a thing that works, right? We have a game where you start with an empire, you start with a planet, and essentially what we're going to do is, I think our next loop is going to be another planning loop where we're going to start talking into like the game maintenance, the core game maintenance play, like the hourly maintenance, and we're going to see if that works. But again, thanks for coming and hanging out with us today. Working on some code. This is fantastic. I hope the stream went well. CPU is down. Looks like we only have like 46 drop frames out of like 50,000. That's fantastic. Hopefully, new microphone is audible to you and sounds great. I think it sounds great, but whatever. That was only half an hour's work. But like, follow, subscribe, all the things. And like I said, next session, we are probably going to do the planning and figuring out what our core gameplay loop looks like. And then we can start bolting on features, and that's going to be the cool thing. All right. So anyway, thank you again. Talk to you later.